Well, we're already into it.
We're rolling.
With the bans, we're just trying to get this done. Rise and Vlad once again for Afreeca. Same bans. And the same bans, or not the same bans here for SKT. They take away Gangplank this time on the red side.
So Gnar priority will be fun to track here because the Gangplank into it was how Keen was able to farm up and ruin Untara's day. Waiting for a blue side ban. I wonder if Sejuani will be accounted for by any team. And Afreeca, they're happy to first pick a Sejuani but not a Jarvan, and they don't want an answering Jarvan, one of the comfort picks for Blank, want him on a bit more of a risky pick. So they ban that away on blue side. A lot open here. A lot, Valdez.
That it is. What will be the final ban? Sejuani, Ezreal, Zoe still available. Galio, another big one for both of these teams.
I think Afreeca will heavily consider first picking it, or they'll really roll the dice. You could see Afreeca saying, you can have Galio again. We'll take it in the second round here of picks in the first round. So like the second attempt they have at picks. They'll take Sejuani. They may pair it with Galio, but they're not threatened by SKT taking it. Because so far SKT are 0-3 with Galio.
I think it might be time to move away from that. It hasn't really been working, especially against Afreeca. Here they say, we can miss the last train home. Let's go to the third set. SKT fighting.
Afreeca may be popular, but SK Telecom by far the most popular squad. And their fans feeling something they've never had to feel before. A 5-match loss streak would be insane. And finally, they will cry out and say, Faker is on a carry. He's on the Azir. A lot of scaling now with Ezreal and Azir ready to go. I wonder how Afreeca will look at this, because with Azir locked in, we know he has a comfortable farm lane against the Galio. So maybe we won't see Galio at all in this game. Might go unpicked and banned for the first time this week, as Kuro may want to opt into the Zoe, something he's already played this season.
Taking a look at some of the highlights of Faker versus KT. The Telecom Wars did play Azir there and was popping off. 15 KDA. Also, you do get Bang's Ezreal, so a very nice comfort pick. The best for Bang. It doesn't mean that Zoe against Azir will happen, and it does mean that Keen gets on to another one of his big picks in the Camille.
He's also happy to blind pick it because Untara will no doubt opt into the Gnar. You see Jax here, it's almost certainly a Jax jungle. It's what Blank has been practicing the most, and we haven't seen a top lane Jax in Korea for the longest time. It's a fun skill matchup against the Camille, so we can dream, but most likely going to be the Cinderhulk into Trinity Force Jax jungle from Blank, and they'll hold on to the top laner for longer, but outside chance we will see the flex pick. No AD carry drafted yet by Afreeca Freecs means we might just see Kog'Maw and Ezreal banned. But Varus would be a very decent option. Sorry, Kog'Maw and Kalista banned. But it would end up being a very obvious Varus draw, so you can't ban out all four of the power picks. And they seem to be happy with the Kog'Maw. They seem to be happy with a bit more scaling, a little bit less lane presence in the early game here to SK Telecom T1.
What will be the final ban here for Afreeca? Putting a lot of thought into this one.
Consider a Braum ban. Won't ban it, so let's see what they make of Ornn here for the side of SK Telecom T1. Definitely one they're going to consider. With Braum already banned in the first round, Ornn looking very attractive and is that flex top lane and support pick. So a lot of ambiguity going on for SKT, even though we expect Jax jungle and also the Ornn in the top lane. Could still be support. So we're waiting on Afreeca to round out the draft. The Kog'Maw will be lapped up, a favorite of Kramer. Not a lot of backline threat from SKT, only the Ornn ultimate to threaten the backline. Okay. Actually, Zyra Khan, the Lovers bot lane, so they pivot after seeing the Ornn and decide to go for Zyra Khan. Much more on the aggressive side when it comes to the team fight. Strong engage from the Afreeca Freecs. First Zyra Khan we've seen since week 1.
Yeah. Once again, it's looking good in terms of the amount of engage and also the amount of damage with the split pusher in the Camille. Of course, Xayah and Zoe.
Oh, Untara, look at this.
Oh, what? I said it in game 1. I'm like, there's no way we're going to see Untara on Fiora. I was wrong. It comes out in game 2. He's getting angry.
It's an old favorite of his. His laning phase when we saw it in summer season wasn't something to write home about. It wasn't Khan tier, that's for sure. But they were able to win with the innate pressure. So Fiora versus Camille match up slightly in favor of Fiora, but this sort of explosive one. And then you look at all the lanes, there's nothing one-sided about this draft. We've seen Aziz recently be able to tussle with Zoe's. The top lane matchup is close to a skill matchup, and bot lane is not written in stone either. So we got a fun game on our hands, and you wanted SKT to have some more carries. They got 4.
The biggest thing for me that sticks out from the draft is not only just the Fiora, but Bang on the Ezreal. I think he's going to have a much easier time, and all the people that are saying, hey, Bang's not playing his best game, I think once you get onto this Ezreal, as long as his mental is not boomed from game number 1, I think he should be a big factor for SKT in game number 2.
Look at the side of Afreeca Freecs, a lot of engage, and then basically going to be all about the poke and pick from Kuros. They can be a pick comp because they have insane pick CC. They have teamfight initiation as well. Only poke does come through from Kuros. So 4-1 if they can get a lead on the Camille, which is difficult against the Fiora. Good to see Untara doing what's needed. For the longest time, looked like he was going to draft the Gnar in a losing matchup, but he feels that they need to be able to fight in the top side. I tend to agree with him. So we'll see if the top lane matchup can be as hyped as it is on paper. We've seen it once this season already. Let's see it again.
Jax and Fiora gonna have to go hand in hand, do a little handshake, help each other out. See what they can do up in the top lane this time. Going into game number 2, Afreeca versus SKT. The Lovers duo down on the bottom side here for Afreeca, making a bit of a statement, coming back with this one, a very uncommon duo that you see nowadays. The Ignite on Tushin, they want to get aggressive. It's another moment for Tushin to shine as well from the support role. Got double MVP over at OGN the other day, and had that solo interview as well, something you don't see too often with the supports.
You know what else we don't see too often on what may prove to be the last patch 8.1 game we get in Korea? No Relic Shields on the bot lane for Afreeca Freecs. Doran Blade, and then Rakan famously does go into either the coin, which at the moment is considered underpowered, so Spell Thieves for a bit more movement speed when the quest comes in, and the poke in lane. So no Relic Shields there for the first time in what feels like forever. Might see some aggressive trading as early as level 1. Notice that W is skilled, so definitely, if there's any disrespect or walk-up from Bang and Wolf, they both press W, they both get Deadly Plumage, and you can do a lot of damage on your first trades. So Afreeca looking for aggression in the 2v2.
Feels like the very first time, and I hope that we get some action down in the bottom lane because of it. Here we go, the Ignite already put onto Wolf. Looking for that poke damage.
Actually lose the trade though, even with W level 1, and no Relic Shield sustain means that a lot of this is going to stick on Tucson. Probably going to have to go through more than one potion unless he gets significant time in lane. It seems like they misjudged their level 1 trade and took some minion damage alongside the opening salvos, and the exhaust and Ignite both down. So a very eventful level 1.
Yeah. Also, you're attacking an Ornn who, you know, double Relic Shield, as you already mentioned, but he's going to be building his own items eventually, so the early trade won't affect him as much as the Rakan. Blank coming in here, going for an early Rift Scuttler.
Yeah, I had a look at his solo queue. Can understand that Camille was not likely to be selected today, so I wondered if he was showing something new, and a lot of the press that's the attack, Trinity Force, Cinder Hulk, Jax coming through from Blank, so that's going to be his pick here. Could definitely stuff a lot of the champions inside of Afreeca, and can be very creative with his pathing. Haven't seen Jax emulate Malrung go for the cheesy level 2 ganks where you ward jump and then flash with your counter-strike up to just have an insane angle of approach on the mid lane. Been much more about the farming, but late game, Haru especially has shown us the way for how strong Jax can get.
I've been playing a little bit of it in solo queue. It seems very stable in a way. You have to be very careful when you leap strike in that you're not, you know, you have to be very sure, right? Because if you leap strike in, you don't have much of an escape, especially if your counter-strike is down. And as you mentioned with the build that you choose, the Cinder Hulk into the Trinity Force, you don't have too many tanky stats outside of that Cinder Hulk. So.
And the ultimate, of course, giving you the resist when it's activated, but level 6 not going to be relevant early. Speaking of relevant early, nice trade taken by Kuro. It's not good damage onto Faker, who did not want to use Cleanse early. Ontara going against Type. He's been Gnar only for the majority of this season, but a second loss on his Gnar breaks out the Fiora in this classic skill matchup top side that does favor the Fiora. So we'll see if Blank will also float around that lane and try to continue to extend. His Bang is low.
Yeah, they find another engage down here in the bottom side, but he's got a multitude of potions plus relic shield stacks are about to get off cooldown here. So I'm sure you can stick around in lane.
Mana's pretty low though.
Yeah, that is true.
And that was a much better trade. I would assume off screen the E actually hit onto Bang, who was susceptible to that earlier at Worlds, made a couple of positioning errors against the Feathers and got stunned up a couple too many times.
Gathering Storm taking on the 280 carries this time around. Kramer and Bang playing for the late game here. Want to just scale up as much as possible. Blank now getting aggressive. Kuro roaming here may have spotted him on that ward at the river, but this is not a dive up into the top side. It was just going through the jungle, laying down some wards.
And a bit of safety for the top laner there, for Keen, who right now very competitive in CS. No jungle attention is always a surprise in matchups like this, but so far attention has been elsewhere.
Zoom in on Kramer.
Boots 2 rush, so
yeah.
Expected to be Bang opting into the free boots. And Boots 2 rush against free boots use has been pretty common to both dodge damage and to look for chase down kills that aren't possible when there is a comparable move speed between both carries.
Girl level 6 here before Faker. Faker did just get it right now with the wave underneath. See if they try to make any plays here towards the mid side. They do have the Sejuani nearing 6. But you can notice that Faker does have his cleanse and flash available. I wonder where the first order of action will be here for Spirit if he's going for a lane gank. You would think the top side, as you were talking about, in that very tense matchup between the two carries, would be an ace option against the Fiora.
Because Blank's such a flexible pick on the Jax, you'll notice that Spirit hasn't gone for fleet footwork, which has been more and more common for clear speed and also aggressive options. This week he's gone for Aftershock. He's the only tank, or true tank I should say, on the side of Afreeca, so very much looking for the tanky stats. This is a 4-man invade on Blank.
Oh, it misses, but he gets the knock-up. It's enough damage. First blood goes over to Kramer, the 4-man invade, and the timing lines up perfectly with the blue buff that spawns. They caught Blank in the jungle. They knew exactly where he would be. Nicely done for first blood.
Yeah, really creative as well. So as Azir was backing, no calls clearly. You never see a 4-man invade for first repeat spawn of blue buff, but they pull it off. Great timing on the W there from Tucson. Well caught up, and Blank, even with his flash up, dies.
He had the flash. He may have had an option to ward jump even. Here comes Sejuani, level 6. I was talking about where he might go. It looks like it will be in the bottom lane waiting for that flash. But in fact, Bang gets it and then just Arcane shifts away. And everybody's safe.
Yeah, the ultimate goes wide there by Spirit as well. So not able to get a kill, but getting 3 summoners is a pretty decent trade. Looked like it was going to be bloody. Looked like it was going to be multiple kills, but lane control is also something that's very, very relevant.
Yeah, the Kramer did blow his own flash at the same time. So both AD carries, no flash at the moment. Was able to keep his heal available. SKT looking to strike back. 3 members invading into the blue. And Tara even coming down just in case.
Not a bad thing to go as a team. Something that SKT struggled with in previous series, but synergy much better the previous game. Kleptomancy on Antara. It's a pretty common choice on the Fiora, getting those extra items. Bit of extra sustain in lane. We'll get a bit more clarity on the rune choices here. Pretty standard stuff, all things considered.
That's the zombie ward here. Help out with some extra vision up on the top side after your ward goes down. If you're pushing, becomes a zombie ward. You'll have some extra coverage against the jungler. Unfortunately, as I say that, the zombie ward dies because Keen does take it out. So far, Keen having a nice lane here against the Fiora. talked a little bit about this matchup, but earlier on, of course, the Camille will have a nice little poke advantage.
It's one I always like tracking because on first release, it seemed to be very Fiora favored, and then a lot of people feel like there's some great options with the ability to take Comet in lane for you to fight back on the Camille and go more competitive. So it's one of those matchups that has shifted as the new runes come in, which, like a lot of matchups, of course, basically every farm lane for Gangplank is now super winning, so you take him in more risky lanes, such as Kleptomancy's influence on the top side. SKT starting off the Ocean Drake.
Well, they may go for Kuro here. He hops in, but that's way too aggressive as he gets knocked up against the wall. Kuro going alone, overestimating Zoe's ability, does get taken out.
Yeah, tried to fully rely on the portal jump, but it's not enough to get him away from a line skill shot initiation. Still SKT, because they've taken a lot of damage. Blank has to the aggro, and Spirit can walk up.
Decides to go back in. They get double knocked up here. Wolf forced into the stopwatch. Afreeca not looking for more, though. SKT trying to come in. Emperor's Divide to push everybody back into the fight. They want to go for this, but Faker taking the damage on the backside. They're going to trade 1 for 1. Spirit now getting low. The Dragon will go down to the Xayah.
Of all people.
Fact, yeah. No smite available. Spirit smited early to get that extra health.
Insanity around the Drake there was a really big build to re-engage 4v5 because they had the wombo combo with the grand entrance being available and the quickness as well. They don't get the maximum out of it to Afreeca Freecs, but they do take down Faker and allow Zoe to re-push in mid lane on respawn. Insanity there, but Kramer is the big benefactor. He picked up the first blood, invading onto Blank and a double kill. And when he goes for his shopping trip, you got to bet that Essence Reaver is coming early.
Yeah, 3-0 here before 10 minutes. Stays alive. This was a bit of a messy one. So walk us through it, Papa.
So 4v5, that's why they go for engage. And they engage from 2 fronts at the same time. Goodbye, Jax. He'd been tanking up the Drake. He was going to be dead early. As it goes on, though, Faker goes super aggressive, but do they have the damage to support an engage like this? Your first instinct is yes, because it's Ezreal, but early in the game, Ezreal doesn't have the same impact. So from there, it ends up being a crapshoot on who gets the Drake, of all people. It's an auto attack coming through from the Xayah. But being so much profit onto Kramer, whereas the kill profile for Wolf and Faker is not as ideal, is a big win for Afreeca Freecs.
Wolf looking to get some kind of engage here. Low on mana, though, is Bang.
He misses his ult as well.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been able to chase because of the low mana, but not a good look there. And the Blade Caller does hit Wolf, so 2v2 laning phase. Should we be surprised that Bang and Wolf, who, of course, have had a lot of synergy for a long time, were one of our best lanes in 2015, haven't played together with a great degree in 2018. If you look at Wolf's solo queue, is still largely playing jungle to provide an option there. And then you think back to Worlds, Bang & Wolf's laning phase was one of the Achilles heels of Afreeca Freecs. It's why Faker had to play so much Galio, because his top lane was overextending and his bot lane was losing. So when you come here, picking up so much onto Kramer and Tucson early, dangerous times for SKT as Tucson gets pretty frisky with a Demolish proc.
These supports, man, they always want that proc. Makes you feel so, you know, like you have a use in the lane, right? You're doing something.
It reminds me of Jax's third auto in terms of having a very satisfying clunk sound as well. So you really want to get it, but can definitely be baited in. We've seen multiple supports die. Ignar most notably on the Shen at level 2. And they're going to walk up here, and because they've done chip damage, goodbye bot lane turret. Xayah and Rakan online early. That's going to be a big shopping trip for Kramer.
Disgusting amount of gold. Just take a look at the items as he goes back home. That's really going to be the fun thing to watch. Essence Reaver picked up.
It's all for now, but a very big purchase from a BF sword, better part of 2,000 gold. Means that he is super powered here and ready to go with his next item. Going to be the rush on the Iceborne Gauntlet, the armor going to be very helpful for Bang, but just going to be about poking and showing respect for Kramer and Tucson, who you notice, for now at least, are going to have going back to the bot lane to try to pick up farm. We'll see what they want to do. Ezreal doesn't have the ability to freeze the wave, usually, because he wants to use his Mystic Shot when it comes to last hitting to get his tier stacks going. So we'll see what SKT going to have to do around the bot lane. As for now, they're actually 2-man invading.
Just going to get locked up here, but no opportunity to go on it. It was 2v3 as they go in. It was kind of funny to see Wolf invading with his jungle.
Keen being up in CS in this matchup is probably more about the player and the sort of form he's in rather than necessarily the matchup. So in complete absence of anybody going top lane, he's up 17 CS over Antara. And they're looking to end the laning phase now as Zion Rakan are going to rotate top.
Trouble Bubble does miss, as does the paddle star. They're thinking Faker gets aggressive here, but...
Cleanse is up.
Yeah. Cleanse. Flash not, though. So even with just the cleanse, he would have to have a nice shuffle to get out of there.
So Wolf's the first person to teleport in.
Oh, the demolish.
Got it.
Yeah.
He has almost no health from items, no sight stone this early in the game. So amusingly, the demolish does about 2 auto attacks worth.
Yeah.
Spirit is shadowing, though. We see Ambition do this a lot. They're thinking about a turret dive onto Wolf, but they back away for now. No minion wave.
Yeah. True Shot Barrage, the true MVP, helping him out there. Blank just trying to farm up as much as possible. Hasn't shown his face very often in the lanes so far in this game. And even so, he's behind on the farm here compared to Spirit on the Sejuani.
But now Afreeca will just push into Bang, who Bang Wolf can freeze up the wave, and they're not going to allow any turret damage to go down. See pings onto Rift Tower and also to try and catch Zion Rakan.
Okay, well, Rakan here, the Counter-Strike misses. He's trying to get out, but the Emperor's Divide, he just flashes the wall and gets away. Thunderstorm coming in. He could output a lot of damage, but he's getting very low, so he's a bit careful. But again, they disengage and they get out alive.
Some golf claps from the audience because they do disengage without losing a single member from a 4-man gank from SKT. The gank timing from SKT was on point. They were very close to securing one with quickness, flash, and the grand entrance. Always very difficult to shut down the Rakan's escape. Not able to turn this into a turret or a Rift Herald. Remember, they were so frustrated in game 1 trying to take a Rift Herald. We're going to see the replay here. Ult used onto Kramer, so he's out of the fight at the start, but quickness and flash gets him out. Kramer's able to disengage with the ultimate, and from there, Featherstorm gets them both out. So happy times for Afreeca Freecs. No Malzahar for the Zoe to deal with, so for once no QSS means that item timings are on point. Are we going to see Eliandri's Torment second here from Kurur?
Ooh, close.
Messed up his combo a little bit.
Yeah. Has redemption, though, so don't worry about his health. Okay, we have the Jax finally coming on in. They want to force a fight here.
Antara trying to bait something. That was a big burst onto Faker off screen.
Yeah, wasn't even using that for healing. Just trying to get that burst damage. Kind of missed the skirmish there.
Antara's trying to put themselves in positions to bait in a hook shot from Camille, but Keen is not taking the bait, and Jax had already backed away. CS lead only growing for Keen is a big concern for SKT. They picked this lane to go even or at worst, so go to win, honestly, but at worst go even, and haven't really been able to do that, even if it's not a huge lead. And Kleptomancy will help out in terms of gold. They've abandoned top lane, so right now it's going to be a trade for the Mountain Drake. Spirit is also lying in wait.
Yeah, all 5 members of the SKT down here towards the Drake, as even Untara is down on the bottom side. Putting a lot of worth onto that Mountain Drake. They do pick it up now. See where they go from here. Untara just still farming up.
Impressed with Keen's ability to take on a different role to last year when he was basically always given counter pick to smash lane. He hasn't been, falling to the obvious pitfalls of now increased expectation. He's jumped away from F8 winners onto the Afreeca Freecs. He's replacing Marin. Everyone talks about his mechanical skill, but instantly being able to, after 10, 15 games of pro play, read a game well enough to stay alive in ganks and stay competitive is not something we shouldn't be rewarding of to Keen, who quietly is accumulating a very good reputation as a top laner in Korea. So with Kleptomancy, about a 400 gold lead in the top lane, as Kleptomancy does answer all of the CS lead that Keen has put together.
So we're kind of just chilling here for now. We did have some wonky fights earlier on, but So far, both teams playing a very safe from there on out, just trying to lay down the vision. We're here at 19 minutes, so it doesn't look like any Rift Herald in this game.
Nope.
But
It'd
still,
have to be started now.
Yeah. Lots of vision being taken around the future Baron area. Okay, they're going to go for it here right before it does despawn.
Tucson standing on a ward. Quickness and grand entrance up for the turn. SKT don't have control in the area, though Ezreal cancels back. They spot it out. 5,000 health on the Rift Herald.
So many feathers in position. Gonna pull it back. That's a smite away, and there it goes. Gonna give that one to Kramer, even.
They're gonna use it to crack mid lane. That's the plan with it. But now Faker and Wolf trying to push them in wave. Bot lane, Untara being shadowed by Blank. But it's never proactive. It feels like Blank is always there for the counter gank. And Afreeca's just leaving Keen on an island. And so far, it's a pretty nice island. Hawaii or something going on here because he's just sipping some farm, having a happy time. He'll lose the turret, but seems like his team has bigger fish to fry. There's never been the chance for Untara and Blank to outplay Keen and Spirit. And they've got Jax and Fiora. They're built for the outplay, but the outplay is never presented to them.
Yeah, I mean, they have so much vision in the red side jungle of Afreeca, but they don't really have Blank going too aggressive in there. Hasn't hit level 11 yet for that extra ult, the level 2. Whereas Spirit is at level 12. 2-level difference already being shown in the jungle.
No damage to champions, as you can see. 263, cue the memes, but that's because Blank was invaded, and so far hasn't been able to find a lane to gank. Wants to counter gank bot lane. That is how the Jax wants to play this. When the initial spells are down, Fiora riposte, and then suddenly Jax. Kind of what they're looking for. That's never been open to him. Mid lane has just been a long lane farming, and the bot lane's been winning. So Blank is just doing a lot of walking up with the counter strike and walking away. So looking a bit like a goof, but not able to really pull anything off.
Yeah, now it's all about pushing mid lane. Hasn't used the Rift Herald just yet. Thinking about it though, obviously, as the bottom lane duo is sitting here in mid.
Gold standard would be a pick onto someone and then just Rift Herald in mid lane to end Azir's farm forever laning phase.
Yeah. Spirit lying in wait in the corner. You can see he's looking for the play now. Arcane Shift is down, but no opportunity is lent to them here.
They see Azir top side, so I guess it's time for the Rift Herald.
Trishot Barrage coming out, trying to do his best to stop this, but they're actually going to take down the turret just on the threat of 5 members being there and SKT not being grouped up. That means we will have another big charge on the mid lane, tier 2.
Yeah, able to usher it forward. All they wanted was a charge. Not going to be greedy for anything more, but a free 2,000 damage or so to the second turret. Tucson on a ward.
Oh, he gets out. Very unfortunate there for SKT. They're going to get the knock up here on a Kramer, but nobody close enough, and a TP coming in means that SKT disengage.
Gotta say that I'm sure SKT feel hard done by. They thought they got the pick onto Tucson on another day. Maybe it was early enough, but when you're in a losing streak, those recalls go through. The line skill shots miss. And SK Telecom T1, they will control vision around the Drake. They already have one mountain, so a second mountain would make Ezreal and Azir make very short work of the Baron. So it's pretty high value to the side of SKT.
We haven't really got to see Bang pop off on his Ezreal just yet. It's one of the big things I was looking for in this game, but so far he just has 2 assists from the Dragon play. We'll get there eventually, I'm sure. Got to wait until later on in the game. This definitely feels like a more passive game that we're getting ourselves into.
Yeah, no one's really popped off this game. Surprising pickup. I want you guys to note the first item pickup. It's not Worlds 2017. It's still an Ardent Sensor rush from Tucson. Ardent Sensor's value on Rakan was always a pretty heavy debate topic among analysts at Worlds, just because you think of the prototypical Ardent Sensor user, they stand behind the AD carry and heal them or use shields off cooldown, 100% uptime. You only usually get 1 shield as a Rakan, and then he's diving in, so you don't often get full uptime on Ardent Sensor. This is very much, well, my AD carry has 3 kills, let's give him some attack speed and do the damage now. Infinity Edge soon to be completed. Will make Kramer just super powered. So maybe you will be able to just dash in, dash out, and 6 seconds of Ardent Sensor is enough. That's the theory here. That looks really, really funny. It looked like we had visual lag.
Ezreal doesn't move, and just a giant true shot barrage comes out of his body.
Has Science gone too far?
Seems like it. We're still here in 8.1. Feels like that's already too far.
Well, that Science is going to be eroded, and so will the Mountain Drake advantage from SKT. Bang takes poke. They have to give up the map. Map control surrendered by SK Telecom T1. Keen can return to lane, so a lot of normalcy here. For now, though, item advantage for Untara. He is up his Ravenous Hydra completion. That was his first item, but has already put together a Trinity Force. Probably just about a back timing for Keen.
Yeah. Also took a couple of Doran's Blades and does not have Klepto. Love to get a look at the golds here, but we have Spirit getting engaged upon. Thinking about a counter engage, but then Ornn comes from the side. Nice little dodge with the portal jump. Kuro making it look easy. Honestly, it is pretty easy.
Oh, I mean, from that range especially, that's so much time there to dodge. There was no other pressure. Ornn is always best when there's another threat. Then you can just thread through and catch someone. Speaking of catching someone.
Okay, see you later, Blank. We've seen that happen before. Just going to face check the brush without any vision, no blue trinkets, no anything. And you are going to get caught up. There's a lot of pick on the side of Afreeca. Now we got the feathers coming in. Will they try to go for a steal here without the smite? It's going to be pretty hard. It's going to be up to Faker, but nearly impossible as the smite comes in from Spirit and Afreeca get the essentially free Baron.
And that's where you have to have the fair criticism. Blank walking up there when they didn't have control of the river is a mistake. There was a control ward. I'm not 100% sure that was placed earlier, but clearly not massive advanced vision, but a massive information that, hey, we know where the enemy team is playing. Too easy for the Rakan to tie up the Jax. Blank has died with his flash up multiple times now on the Jax. This time it gives away Baron. Well, watch the replay and consider here what Blank knows. There is no control vision down. He has no advanced vision, but that just means don't walk up. It's that simple. He didn't even walk up with his counter-strike up, so clearly he wasn't expecting anything.
He had the lens going, the scanning lens, but you're Jax, right? And
the enemy is Rakan.
You're not going to get, you're not going to get close enough and get out. You have this experience when you first start playing Jax where you're like, oh, I can jump to wards, I can jump to enemies, allies, I have counter-strike, I'm invincible. That's not the case in a lot of different ways, especially if you get stunned up before you can dodge it because, again, he's not all that tanky.
And does this need to be the build? Because, again, in the LCK, we have had tank Jax work as recently as this season, and it was purely the pick before. He already has Fiora, Azir, Ezreal. Is it the right choice to go for Trinity Force 0, 3, and 1? Again, I'd probably say no. I think it's time to just get a Righteous Glory and walk up and counter-strike people on a low cooldown rather than trying to be a split pusher or be a threat. But in this case, Blank disagrees, and unless this game stalls out, it's going to be used against him.
They want to get onto Tushin here, even the Ornn ultimate from downtown, but not going to happen. Ooh, that trouble bubble, though. Very close to picking off Faker.
Minute 40 on the Baron. Camille still far away from the inner turret, so for now, just poking around. Camille actually put together a Sterix Gauge before she finished the Tiamat. Definitely ready to go if there's a gank on her by 2 or 3 members with Flash, Hextech Ultimatum, and the Sterix Gauge.
Well, tons of vision being denied now from Afreeca. They haven't necessarily gotten a bunch of these turrets just yet, but they're taking over the vision. They'll finally get one turret here in the mid lane.
There are no words to express how strong Kramer is at this point in the game. No play of the Ruin King yet for Bang, and it's 3 item and Ardent Sensor, largely about attack speed and on-hit damage. Xayah. Xayah is monstrously strong as we currently check into the game.
Not to mention the Targons that he finished.
Yeah, definitely. Wouldn't want to mention that.
Definitely do not mention that.
It'll be gone soon, don't worry.
Yeah, just even adding extra into what Kramer has got.
I understand your mistake.
Yeah. They both end in ER, so, you know. It's close.
Not a lot of gain for Afreeca. They're not able to break the base with their first Baron, but the Baron's kind of a bonus. They didn't expect a Jax to face check and then to pick up the buff, and there's only one inner turret left on the map. Afreeca's setups have been really good. Their vision game, I think, is even better than it was last year, and it was good last year. A lot of Marin flank teleports into victories in spring season, and then the whole team kind of faltered a bit in summer when Marin's mechanics started to give way. A lot of insurance here. Look, compared to Jax, consider how Afreeca take no risk. Control ward, in every brush they walk by. They'll crash down the third inner turret. I love the fact that they can be aggressive but also clean in their aggression, whereas SKT have really struggled to play multiple styles at the same time.
Yeah, one of Twitch chat's favorite words, clean. Definitely a good one to describe Afreeca at this point. And they will continue with it.
Unstoppable means that the bubble doesn't do much.
Yeah. We'll see if Kuro can get some of those juicy one-shots with the Zoe later on. Not quite there yet.
Afreeca want to get control of the red side jungle because then they can push 2 lanes, mid and top lane, and fall back to Baron. But that doesn't need to be right now. That's when the Baron, say 2 minutes away, that you start to make the plays where red side control is the most important. But now kind of balancing their attention and considering taking a free Ocean Drake in 20 seconds time.
I was taking a look at the gold difference earlier on between Camille and Fiora. And in fact, the Klepto is not helping Fiora keep up too much. She is behind about 1,200, I think, at this point. Definitely the creeps helping.
5 turrets as well.
Yeah, 5 turrets definitely help as well. Also the minion lead that Keen has built for himself.
Yep, he's been ahead the entire laning phase with no jungle attention, which, you know, it's not normally how Camille versus the Fiora goes. The theory is that Fiora having the riposte means that she should win aggressive trades in lane, and it's only when the ganks come that Camille has a lot of playmaking with her hook shot and ultimatum. No pressure at all onto Keen. Ocean Drake, as free as you like, second one of the game for Afreeca, does force the spawn of the Elder pretty early in the piece, so multiple objectives to try to get SKT, force them out of the base, stop them turtling.
Double Ocean will definitely help against a bit of the poke that the Ezreal Azir does have. Can essentially cancel that out, especially when you're this far ahead.
And Kramer has gone for the Winmore item. Guardian Angel doesn't need extra damage because he has the Ardent Sensor and already is monstrously ahead. You look at armor on the side of SKT, Untara, Ninja Tabis, blank none. Iceborne Gauntlet, the biggest armor item on the entire team, is on the 80 carry, which lets you know that Kramer is going to obliterate SKT. He needs to be accounted for.
You were talking about the Jax build, especially when you're going up against a fed Xayah or 80 carry. Definitely some armor would be nice. But now let's talk about Untara, who is going to try to get out of here. But unfortunately, you got a Camille on your ass, and you will go down 4v1. There's no Baron to take, no objective for SKT. They were in their base as Untara pushing up the lane gets caught.
Yeah, unnecessary for him to be that far up. Understandable given that he's been so non-interactive this game, but didn't read the map well, had some control wards, but they were very shallow. You know, the one control ward towards the base and nowhere near there. He doesn't have the right to be that far out of the base, and that's not a criticism. That's just what vision games mean at the highest level. Afreeca going to be able to get the kill 30 seconds before Baron spawns. If the Baron's up, certainly there is the ability, if the rest of your team is coordinated, for the Azir to walk up and delete the Baron. But at that timing, inappropriate from Untara. His teleport down awkwardly as well because he used it to try to escape when there was 0% chance.
0%. Perhaps he didn't know it was 4. Maybe he thought it was 2 and then saw the Camille. Trouble Bubble lands onto Azir, and they're trying to make a play onto Keen, who just flashes away. Should be able to get away from this one, but the Iceborne Gauntlet coming in, and Keen, with this hook shot down, finally gets it back up, still on the run. Flash Mystic shot misses, and that means that we don't have Bang with the flash, as it's all desperation right now for SKT.
I was definitely going to say it did strike of desperation, trying to get the first slow and chase him down and stay 20% CDR at the minimum. Hook shot maxed Camille, level 18 Camille as well. Kramer walks up, and Untara should walk away.
He's walking forward. Thankfully, Kramer was attacking the turret, not him. Faker looking to be the one-man army. Perhaps if he can get a 4-man Emperor's Divide, we might have this game continue on. But I'm sure you guys can tell in my voice, I'm not too positive that will happen. Afreecas have been extremely clean, as we mentioned before. Look at how split up they are right now. Tushin on the bottom, Spirit in the middle, Kramer hitting the inhibitor.
No threat onto Kramer. Everything up. Flash, heal, and try another ult.
They do get a 3-man knockup. Rather, Kramer knocks himself up somehow with the Featherstorm.
With no backup, doesn't matter. Short cooldown, it'll be up again, but Kramer's going to walk up on this minion wave.
And down it does go. The first inhibitor with the Baron buff going over to Afreeca. We're sitting here at 11,000 gold ahead. And we've seen Afreeca beat SKT many times before in the past, but this one definitely feels different from last year.
I mean, both teams kind of have to protect the MVP or protect the VIP going. Faker always the VIP in at 3.5 items. Problem is that Kramer is 5-0-0. The only kills on his team is the Kramer who is at 6 items, super early into the game. He's got an Ardent Sensor. He should buy some other. He's got a Locket as well. He's ready to go. And he is also casually 4,000 gold ahead of Kleptomancy Ezreal, which never happens. You never see someone 4,000 gold ahead of Kleptomancy, but he's done it, the madman.
Yeah, unless this happens. Funnily enough, doesn't have the highest damage in the game. Hasn't really had an opportunity to have a big team fight.
I was going to say, how much damage can you do when everyone runs away the moment you show up in the lane?
Yeah.
Usually AD carries don't command that much respect this early in the game.
Yeah. If this were solo queue, Kramer would have like triple the damage of everyone else.
Triple the kills he currently has too.
Probably.
On tower, nice riposte.
Yeah, nicely done there. Trying to keep him and his team in this one. It's like the Stark's Gauge did pop there. Either way, he's going back.
So as Keen is pushing up, you can see that the turret has 0 HP, it will die. Just the minions don't even have to walk up if you're Keen. So base broken in 2 spots. Someone will have to answer the super minions in the next minute or so. Maybe even less, next 20 seconds or so.
Looking for an engage now, but it's actually going to get turned on them as Tushin denies it, says, get out of here, I am the support master. Takes a lot of damage on the back foot. They're looking for another engage here, trying to get on the Spirit, but Blank, what the hell happened to his health? Looks like finally Kramer got a couple of auto attacks onto someone, and you guys see what happens in that case.
Teleporting back also with the unsealed spellbook. Tushin's back. They're going to lose 3 inhibitors here.
Yeah. Well, they're certainly going to get this bottom one. A small walk over pretty aggressively through the base, saying, we're not scared of you guys.
I mean, I half expected Blank to pause the game and query the damage dealt by Kramer.
It's like, this is just not fair. It doesn't make any sense.
I built a Trinity Force.
We're SKT.
And I have a Jorum's Fist, so why am I taking so much physical damage?
A Jorum's Fist, man.
Stark's Gauge doesn't give any armor in case you're watching at home.
Yeah.
They desperately would love some armor, or an Elder Dragon, but they can't have that. That sinking feeling that I'm sure SKT fans are feeling. Again, in the LCK era, they have never lost 5 best-of series in a row, but they would move down to 1 and 5. They still have a superior game score to MVP. You know what the kind of weirdest thing is? Because MVP beat them, if the game score was equal, they'd be bottom. So right now, we're running out of good news stories for SK Telecom T1. Feels like all our old adages about what they are as a team, how they come back, all the soundbite clips of how good Coma is as a coach and all these things, for right now, as 8.1 stands, don't apply. This will be the second time that a patch cycle has gone through where they've gone, last time it was no wins, but that was only 4 matches. This time it's a longer patch cycle, and it's 5 losses on patch 8.1. Only a single win over Rox, and that wasn't clean. That was a 2-1 at the start of the season before Rox got their things together. They'll be hoping that 8.2 brings a lot of change, but I've watched some NA and EU, it doesn't.
Blank, he's trying to kill a ward here, and he's got Kramer on his butt. Gets his counter-strike up, but just barely survives. And that was all just to clear the ward.
Every time Kramer auto-attacks something, I clench. That's how much damage he's doing.
Everybody watching at home, everybody in the studio is as well. Unless you're a Afreeca fan, in which case you're pretty happy. Well, Kramer moving up. No one wants to get near him at this point. Everybody's just scared. They're just going to let it go down. Finally, Orin decides to ult on in. They get a little bit of chip damage on the Spirit, but it just doesn't matter. They're too far ahead. Kramer's going to get another kill. Up to 6 now. He's going to get one more as Zuntara gets low. Emperor's Divide is pretty. It just doesn't matter. That's a 2-0 victory now for the Afreeca Freecs over SKT, making it look easy, Papa.
And Kramer ends with 100% kills, not kill participation. He got all the damn kills, 6 and 0 and 0. The reverse secret agent. He was a very obvious agent.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't matter. He might as well have been John McClane, gunning everyone down. Afreeca Freecs beat SKT 2-0 to condemn SK Telecom T1 to their longest ever losing streak. And Valdez, consider that they've tried everything. Short of Blossom playing, they've had Wolf in the jungle. They tried their experienced lineup. The experience didn't matter. They were very handedly beat by the Afreeca Freecs. They've got no more emergencies left. Even the pie in the sky that I keep saying, what about Bengi coming into the lineup? Can't happen till the second round robin when they could register him as a player and not a coach. And that already seems like a grasp. I've got no advice on how SK Telecom T1 can address this losing streak. They need to find a new approach to League of Legends. None of their ones from 2013 to 2017 work. And you see every single face here, they're all doing a faker, and by that I mean they all have no expression.
It's rough to look at their faces to see how far they've fallen. These guys, they went to the World Championship. They got wrecked there, and ever since then, looks like it's been downhill.
But that's one way to narrate it. They got to the final. They may have creaked over, they may have had hard games, but they got to the final. They are the second best team in the world, judging on World Championships. They lose Peanut, they lose Huni. They try to go with what worked in the LCK. It's not working. They need to find something new. And people will say, show faith in the lineup, they'll get there. When? Because we're running out of games. We're over a quarter of the way through the season. And even if they turn it around, it's going to have to be a battle for even 5th place, let alone for 3rd or 2nd.
Spring is looking pretty disastrous right now for SKT, but for Afreeca, let's talk about them. They get another win. Yeah, you just pointed out the 612's Jax damage. I'm sure Twitch chat is losing their minds right now. But yeah, Afreeca, they were in 4th place and they get another win. They're in a really fantastic spot. A team that people were saying, okay, bring it in Keen, and they're actually looking even better now with Spirit on the shot calling, and by God, they are. They're looking pretty good.
Yeah, we had no query on Keen's talent. It was more about temperament, especially because he can't always have counterpick, and who would the shot caller be for the team? We're told the Spirit has been the dominant voice, and unless he has fallen behind significantly in the jungle, unless he's down 2 or 3 kills, his shot calling has been very good. Early, mid to late game, he's bridged it very well. I imagine other voices help in the late game. It's easy to shot call when Kramer was about as overpowered as ever could be in this particular game. But you got nice damage numbers for SKT, but it doesn't address the problems primarily in top and jungle. But the bot lane, I don't think Bang & Wolf were the solution in 2018 either.
Yeah, I mean, you think about how the game wins, game number 2. It was one not so great fight at the Dragon where Xayah gets 3 kills and then Blank gets caught. They give over the Baron and everything snowballs out of control. And that was basically it. Those were the 2 big turning points, if you can call them that, in the game of 38 minutes. There weren't that many kills. As you mentioned, all 6 kills on Afreeca went to 1 player on the Xayah. It just looks like there's no hope when you watch a game like that. It's like they just fall over and die.
We wondered if the loss to MVP was going to be the turning point. Remember, you have to hit rock bottom before you can actually start anew. It seems like it's just the norm for SKT now. It seems like we don't know what rock bottom represents for them. Maybe we have to judge it based on their finish at the end of the 1st round robin. They've only got 3 more matches in that 1st round robin, and getting to 4 wins is looking more and more unlikely for the side of SKT. We can see them walking past us. No expressions on any of the players, but congratulations to Tucson, who had more heavy lifting to do than Kramer, who just auto-attacked down the nearest champion. There was some nice engages, some nice escapes, and Tucson keeps up his MVP streak.
He made a very edge pick in the Rakan work beautifully as well. His engages in multiple times, I'm sure. We'll see the highlights, but looking better and better is Tucson. I was talking about him last year when not a lot of people were, but this guy is looking better and better the more I see him. And he's really putting it together as Afreeca does better as a team. Really liking his play so far. So guys, we are going to hand it over to the interview. Of course, it will be Spirit, Tushin, Suncaster, and Jisun for the translation. So enjoy, guys.
여러분을 기다리고 있습니다. 직접 만나보시죠.
Interview, and here we have Tushin and Spirit on the interview stage. What a game from Afreeca Freecs. Let's meet today's MVPs. First, Spirit. Well, you are very well known for some special picks, not something general picks. But today, I think you picked some of the general picks today. What was the reason? Well, I just make a decision deciding about my team composition, so it's not a big deal for me to pick J4 and something like that. Well, I think it means that you are good at everything, right? Well, today I think you were in a great form, and how's the synergy going around with you and Keen? Well, thinking of Keen, I think I have to say it's Keen who's doing better, and I'm trying to adapt to him. So, yeah, I think Keen is the one who's doing the best. But today he said that he's not feeling well, so I was a little bit worried. But I think he did perform great. And he also said that he didn't do well with Camille in the laning phase, so he said he's really feeling sorry for the teammates. So I just told him that I think you did great. It's like if that's not your best, I think you are a great player. I think Keen is a very strict person to himself. Then moving on to Tushin. I mean, you did a great performance both in games. How was today's match? Yeah, I'm personally satisfied with my play today. And I think I deserve the MVP for the game first also. But I don't understand why Spirit took it. Then what will be the highlight of the first game? Let's check out the clip. Let's take a look. Well, I actually didn't see it. But all I remember is my initiation at this moment. I mean, it was all about me, but I don't know why Spirit got the MVP points. I mean, I made a really great EQ combo. I think I'm worth MVP points. Yeah, it was a great play from both of you. And nowadays, Afreeca Freecs is having some anniversaries. Mowgli had his first year anniversary as a debut, and today is your coach Zepha's birthday. Well, yesterday Peanut got a victory as a birthday present, but we were worried that we cannot give our coach the birthday present. But today, we're just happy that we took the game and gave it as a birthday present to our coach Zepha. Well, speaking of Zepha, he's a player who earned more than 30,000 prize money. Well, I actually never heard of that. From today's game, well, can you tell us more about your team comp? Especially the Xayah and Rakan. Well, we're still working on it, the Xayah and Rakan, because it has high risk, high recurrent plays. But today we didn't make a lot of mistakes, so I think it was really awesome. And let's check out the clips together. You made a great move here. You managed to survive. Did you have the confidence? Well, I was a bit worried at some moments, but I was sure that I was going to leave at the moment. Well, Tuzin was doing well until Tuzin wasn't doing well until the second highlights, but from this moment, yeah, I think he did really well. Yeah, Tuzin, you did so much job today. Congratulations. So this is your first interview at Sport TV of the split. You guys have so many other players in your squad. How is that? Well, nothing's really bad of having a lot of teammates in your team. The good things are that it's really easy for us to get used to the new meta. So since we have double squads, we always share so many information throughout the communication, throughout the team. So I think it has really great synergy. But speaking of more personal life, isn't it too hard to share the toilets with 10 guys? Well, we actually have 5 bathrooms for our house, so it's really okay. Well, we actually brought you a special present for you guys. For Kuros. Yeah, we always try to give some special prizes to the MVP winners. And this time we brought a gum for Kuro. Well, yeah, Kuro does need this. He can't play a game without a gum. Thank you very much. Thank you for the great follow-up, you guys. So you guys made it to the 4 victories, and you guys made it to the higher ranks in LCK. Well, actually, everyone's so hyped about 3Ks in LCK, but definitely, you guys are one of the stronger teams. We're just gonna try harder to maintain our winning streaks, and our upcoming schedules are also tough, so we shouldn't let our guards down. First of all, I always have the confidence that it's just our performance that matters, not other teams. So we shouldn't be just letting our guards down depending on our opponents, and we should just keep on focusing our own works. Today there were a lot of fans out here, right? And last message for your fans, please. The weather is really cold, but thank you for coming out to cheer for us, and also watching online on TV. And we're going to make sure to win our upcoming matches. Thank you. Esprit? Yeah, it's really cold, but thank you for coming out for the stadium and cheering for us, and also watching us online. And I want to add some about our coach, Zeffa. He's having his birthday today, so I want to thank him for making so much pick and bans, and happy birthday to you. Thank you. And this will be the end of the interview. I'll hand it back to over you guys.
Thanks, Ji-sun, once again for the translation. And yeah, this was the beginning of the woes for SKT in game number 2. And it did not get better from here on out. Kramer picking up every single kill in every single fight. Faker trying his damnedest trying so hard to carry his team, but he cannot. It's not working. He gets 1 kill, but he dies.
Something, it doesn't even matter when it comes to the trying. Sadly, Valdez for Faker in this series tried to make a lot of plays, but even the ones that were so close didn't register. They couldn't pick up the kills, and then they made mistakes, chiefly Blank, who, unfortunately has become a bit hapless. You think of his last game on Camille, you see him here. Untara also not covering himself in glory, but Bang and Wolf aren't bossing up bot lane.
Yeah.
Faker is going competitive, but also making critical errors one time a set when it comes to things as trivial, at least on paper, as back timings. The drafts from Coma have also at times left something to be desired, so no one is blameless for SK Telecom T1. Everyone has blood on their hands. Games just seem to escalate so quickly against them, and the comebacks that we're so used to, that everyone's waiting for when the set will be, when the old SK Telecom T1 shows up, I think they're gone. That's kind of what we're learning here, is we need a new SK Telecom T1. There can still be a lineup that is a winning lineup on SK Telecom T1, but it's not going to be an approximation of the old. Out with the old, in with the new, otherwise it might be more losing for SKT.
Yeah, as you guys see here, Afreeca taking the 2-0, and of course they do move up to the top 4, where they were before. Honestly, after that game, I mean, and watching the games yesterday, or was it yesterday?
2 days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago. I don't know, I would honestly rather see Wolf in the jungle, have him play more passive, not get caught out more, send effort back in, and try to rebuild up from there, because, I don't know, we've seen 2 games in a row now from Blank where it seems like he's too frustrated. Maybe he just needs a break or something. He's getting caught way too much, a lot of pressure on him perhaps. Regardless of the reason, I wouldn't mind another shakeup in the lineup here for SKT.
And I understand that, but let's see if they actually have a next opponent that there's one that they feel like they can do something against. BBQ Kongnu Monster would be kind of ideal at this point in the season for SK Telecom T1. They've already taken on Rox, Jinair, and MVP of the lower teams. So I believe it's KSV, BBQ, and Kongnu Monster remaining for SK Telecom T1. 2 of those winnable, one of them less so, although you never know with KSV. Bit of a lucky dip recently. What a weird standings we have, and a standings that honestly is deserved. It feels like this is reflective of where the teams are at. We get to look forward to next week. We will be starting with MVP and KSV, Kongnu Monster, and Jin. So that's this week.
Yeah, week 3.
I got swerved.
Yeah. We're going into the next week here, and you guys will be happy to know that this is on 8.2.
Yay!
So we're finally joining the rest of the world.
Finally.
In modern times of League of Legends. We're not in the past anymore, and we're going to be starting off with Rox versus KSV, Kongdu versus Afreeca. A couple of interesting matchups there. Really be up to Kongdu and Rox to come back against the bigger opponents.
And the 7th over at OGN was already interesting for KT Rolster versus KSV. We've talked about that enough. But BBQ versus SK Telecom T1 is suddenly very interesting, Valdez, because BBQ, if they play Blossom against Blank, with Blank in the current form that he's in, they might be eyeing that for another win and to continue this streak for SK Telecom to 6 losses in a row.
Yeah, that's actually the guy that I had forgotten about, you know. Doesn't have to be Wolf in the jungle. They could play probably the last rookie that they want to play.
Blossom versus Bono, 2 rookies going at it.
I mean, Bono actually looked good.
Yeah.
I thought he was good. His Nidalee play surprised me. His Jarvan play was decent. I was like, yeah, this guy is actually pretty good. When I saw him come in with the Nidalee, I'm like, oh no, not like this. But it looks pretty good. So we'll have to wait and see. After today's games, I would predict BBQ to win that one. Honestly, this is how far we've come. But that's kind of the sad reality we're in here for SKT.
Yeah, the prediction games looking like it's simpler to just say that SK Telecom will lose, which has never been a winning prediction for me. I was always looking for weaknesses in SKT that weren't there. They were such a strong team, but the weaknesses are there for all of you to see. What a struggle for them.
It's going to be a struggle, but make sure you guys join us on Tuesday at SPO TV. And then obviously we got the big matchup, KT versus KZ, the 2 Ks going at it once again for the top spot. I know I'll be watching. I'll be in the Twitch chat. Maybe I'll even show up at the studio. Who knows?
Hey, you're welcome there anytime, Valdez. We've got some great games all through next week. Want to wrap up that first round robin. A couple of match days into the next week, it'll be done. And also next match week, the last one before our week break.
Yeah, so guys, that's going to do it for us. Thank you once again so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.